Hi and welcome to this brief video tutorial where I'll be explaining to you how to download, install and undertake basic setup and connection to your Class B AIS transponder. Basically the piece of software we'll be using as the interface is an open source free piece of software called OpenCPN. It's important to note that this video is for information purposes only, and we are in no way endorsing the use of OpenCPN. It's also important as well to note that OpenCPN should not be used for navigation purposes. It's purely a graphical interface for displaying AIS tracks and for recording AIS tracks. So again, this should not be used for navigation purposes. Also note, I'll be explaining how to download and install on a Windows 7 PC. If you're Mac users or you're using tablets, obviously this process will vary, but the sort of basic principles will remain the same. For more detailed instructions on installing on those various operating systems, I'd refer to the OpenCPN website, which has quite detailed and very helpful, well-written user manual. Right, so to begin, I'll show you where to initially download the software. So to do this, you'll need to be obviously connected to the internet. You'll need to open your browser. In this case, I'm using Mozilla Firefox, and search engine is Google, but again you can use any browser, Internet Explorer, Chrome, whatever you're used to using. And to find the site, you simply type in OpenCPN, search, and you'll see the first result that comes up is the official homepage for OpenCPN. So you can either click on the OpenCPN link or the download OpenCPN. If you go to the home page, what you'll see here is the most recent stable version, here where my cursor is circling, and you'll see that the current version, which was published on 8th of January this year, is version 4.0. so that's what we want to install. So we click on that, and this takes us through to the download page. You'll see stable release 4.0. And you'll note that there's a version available for Windows and for Mac. As I mentioned, this tutorial is based around the use of Windows, so we'll be downloading the Windows version. So just click on download. You'll see then this dialog box opening up. We want to save the file, so we click that. You'll see up at the corner here in Firefox that you've got the download bar. It's quite a small piece of software, so it doesn't take very long to download. It's downloaded. There we go. Right, so just click on that. You can see the file there. Again, as I mentioned, if you're using Explorer or Chrome, you'll need to go into your Downloads tab to find this. So we click on that. Again, another dialog box comes up, so we want to click Yes to allow it to install. We want to use English. Again, there's a variety of languages available, but for the purposes of this we'll be using English, so click OK. I want to begin the installation, so we click Next. Again, it's the license agreement. Wish to accept this, so we click Next. You'll note on this install it says reinstall. This is because I already have the software installed, but when you're installing, obviously it'll be a fresh install, so it will simply say standard installation. So we want to click Next for that. Again, this is the various menu, desktop shortcuts settings. If you don't want to have these shortcuts, you simply untick the checkboxes. If you do want them, we leave them checked. So we'll leave them checked for the purposes of this. Click Next. Again, it asks you which menu folder you'd like to create. So it suggests OpenCPN. We'll accept that. So Next, and then finally click Install. You'll see the installation progress bar there. Again, it doesn't take very long to install. And nearly there. done. So we'd like to open CPN when we're finished, so we click Finish, and the program should now open. And there we are, open. The program's now open. What you'll note is that I have quite a detailed map, the background map on this. If I zoom out, however, you'll see it's quite a rudimentary map. I've already installed the more detailed background map, but when you've installed OpenCPN, you'll be greeted with this format of map, and that's essentially how detailed it gets. So you don't have to download a more detailed background map, but if you wish to, I'll explain how you do this. So to do this, you need to go back to the OpenCPN website. You'll see the book navigation menu up here, so you'll want to click on OpenCPN User Manual, and you'll want to click on Basic Features, and you should see, there we are, All About Charts down there, so you want to click on that. And once you've clicked on that, you'll see right at the bottom here is Chart Sources, so you'll need to click on that, and you'll see up here at the top High Resolution Background Map. As it states, it's a more detailed version of the built-in background map. Basically, once you've installed your raster charts in this, it's actually an irrelevance because you don't see the background map. The charts are overlaid. But if you do want to install a more detailed map, obviously it'll show the rest of the world in more detail. So if you do, you essentially just want to click where it says here. So you click there. Another dialog box opens, so obviously you want to save the file. So you click OK. It's quite a large file, it's 26 megabytes, so it takes, 230 megabytes, excuse me. So it takes a couple of minutes to download, so we'll just wait for it to download. Now, the file has just finished downloading, so if we click on that, we'll see it's finished downloading. Now what we want to do is go to the containing folder, which in Mozilla we simply click this link here. Again, in Internet Explorer and Chrome or whatever other browser you're using, there's the equivalent. So we click on that, and you'll see it opens the link here. So now what we need to do with this is, because it's a zipped file, we need to extract it. So we want to open in a new window, and there you can see the files that are contained within. Now, if we go back to the OpenCPN website, excuse me, it explains to you what you need to do. Firstly, you need to install by unzipping and then placing the files in the following directory of OpenCPN. So what we'll do is we'll actually just go through and find it manually. So to do this, we need to go into Computer, and we'll need to go into C drive. We want to go into Program Files, and then we should find OpenCPN. These, actually it'll be under the times 86 Program Files. And there we are, OpenCPN. So we want to go into there. We then want to go into the GSHH file, and I'll just double check that. Yeah, install directory. Actually, yeah. So we want it in there. Now what you'll notice is these files are actually already installed. This is because I've pre-installed the software. But what you would do in this case is simply select all. You would copy. And then you go to the relevant one, and then you paste. And here it's asking me, because they're already present, do I want to copy and replace? So what I'll say is don't copy. But you would obviously simply paste. Right, so that's how you install the more detailed background map, which you'll see if I zoom in, you'll see there's a far more detailed background map. Right, now at this point I'm going to explain how to connect your computer to your AIS unit. Now in this case I'll be explaining how to connect to a Vespa Marine XB8000 unit. Obviously there are multiple other Class B AIS units out there, some of them with integrated Wi-Fi, some of them without. Obviously we can't explain how to connect to them all, so for this purposes of this video, as an example, we'll explain how to connect to the Vespa Marine XB8000. So the easiest way to connect is the XB8000 has integrated Wi-Fi, so it's far easier to connect via integrated Wi-Fi. To do this, you need to go down to Wireless Options, and you'll see present on that is the, when you're in range, that is, the Vespa XB wireless network. So what we want to do is connect to that. So click on it, you click connect, and then it asks you for the network security key. Now this is actually contained within your Vespa Marine install guide on, I'll just flick through to it. There's no page numbers, but basically I believe it's page 8. It says Wi-Fi. Basically the password is watchmate, and that's watch with a capital W, mate with a capital M, the rest all lowercase, all one word. So we'll type that in. Watch mate. Click OK. It's important to note that this is the default password for the Vespa unit, and it's actually recommended that you change the password for that. But again, that involves going into the operating software for the Vespa unit, which we're not doing. We're just merely using it as an example. Just me click that yes. Basically, I'd suggest nominating it as a public network rather than private. So we've done that. And should now, yeah, we're now, as you can see, connected to Vespa XB, but again we have no internet access, obviously, because the Vespa unit is not linked to the internet. Right, so the next stage now is to go into the OpenCPN software. Oh no, that's not, oh, sorry, we want options. So you want to go to, when this opens, it opens in the default display tab, but we want to go through to connections. So as you can see, there's a variety of options here, but what we want to do is add a connection. So we click add a connection, and you'll see now this properties box appears with two options. You can have a serial connection or a network connection. Now serial refers to a cable connection, and you'll note on the XB8000 there is actually a USB port and a USB cable that comes with the unit, so you can connect directly via that. But the simplest means of connection, and the one we'd recommend, is the networked Wi-Fi connection. But again, if your tablet or your PC doesn't have built-in Wi-Fi, then you would obviously need to connect via the serial port, which I'll explain next. So for our purposes, we click on network, protocol, GPSD, and the address. Now the address you need to input is the default IP address, which is provided in the XB8000 manual. So in this case it's 92.168.15.1, and the data port we want is also listed. In this case it's 39150. So there you can see done that connection, and that's connected. So we click OK, and that should be us connected to the Vespa unit. Now the next video I'll go into more detail as to how you use some of the features of OpenCPN and how you can view and record your AIS tracks. As I mentioned previously, there we go. You can just see that arrow's appeared there, and that's our unit. So if we zoom in, you can see that that's our location. It's our MMSI number. Out. Now I will go back in and show you how to connect via serial. Right, the next stage, or the next step to cover, is if your laptop or tablet does not have Wi-Fi capability, you'll need to connect to the Vespa Marine XB8000 physically via the provided USB cable. So to connect the unit is very simple. You simply unscrew the waterproof cap from the micro USB port on the XB8000, plug in the micro USB end of the cable, and then connect the standard USB end to your tablet or laptop. So we do this. Now, before your computer will successfully recognize the XB8000, you'll need to install drivers for it. So to do that, we need to go to the Vespa Marine website. So again, go to your browser, type in Vespa Marine, and that takes us to the Vespa Marine website. Now, XB8000, it shows you there. Actually, just go to support, and then you'll see USB drivers there, and then you'll see the XB8000/XB6000 transponder. So you want to click on that, and you'll be offered a list of drivers depending on your operating system. So for Linux users, Mac users, but we're Windows, so we'll click on USB drivers for Windows. This dialog box opens, so we want to save that, which should have saved almost instantly, and then again click on that. It asks us, do we want to allow the following program to make the changes? Yes, we do, and we want to extract. Basically, you follow the procedures to install the drivers. Again, we need to wait now for those drivers to install before we can take the next step. Now we see they're done. And you'll see now that when they are done, it flashes up and tells you which COM port you're connected to. So you can see in this instance, it's COM5 is the serial COM port it's connected to. So we click Finish, and we can close the website. So now we want to go into Options again Connections, and we want to add a connection. So same principle as connecting via Wi-Fi, but in this instance we want to connect via a serial connection. So we need to nominate the data port, and in this instance it's COM port 5, and you'll also see that you can identify it by, it says COM USB serial port. So it'll be whichever COM port has USB serial port next to it. So we click that. And now the important point here is we need to adjust bandwidth to 38400. Once we've done that, simply click Apply, and you can see the serial COM port has come up here. So now, hopefully, a little moment or two, we should see our AIS unit popping up on the map, as we did for the Wi-Fi connection. And there we go. Yep. There's our unit popping up there with our MMSI number. And so essentially that is how you download, install, set up, and OpenCPN and connect to your Vespa Marine XB8000 Class B AIS transponder. Again, Again, just a summary: you can connect either via Wi-Fi or via serial port. I'd recommend viewing our second follow-up video, which basically explains how to use some of the basic features of OpenCPN, in particular how to display and record AIS tracks. Thank you.